He wasn't a man of many words. He spoke the best he could, but rested inside their ears, his speech remained unheard, and even when they rarely observed, they never understood. And he always took photographs to remind him of the passing of time, and the laughter always stopped the talk, but broken silence was inevitable, destroyed by the cries of insecurity and violence stuck inside tight white fists, pressing indents of crescents, taking heavy breaths, his balloon chest pressed against a sweat-drenched vest. The questions landed like specks of spit on his face and burned like acid, the putrid stench of blame stained, and blades grazed his skin as he screamed out in pain. Crippled, his legs gave way as the darkness was closing in. He pressed his palms to the dirty ground, and looking up at the moon, he let out an animalistic growl, but nobody was listening. The sound of silence finally settled as the night crusted like dying petals drooping over the edge. He curled up in private, nestled into the warmth of his bedroom. Beside his bed there are stacks of books collecting dust, because once he's read them he can't stand to look again. He's too jealous of the characters and the precious lives they live. He hated the way the stories would always end, without proper resolution or any kind of justice. Instead, he'd sit and think of the words they'd said. If you want any friends, you should be nice. If you need to, pretend and just say you're fine. You should always try and strive to achieve things, even if you feel it's a waste of time, even if it makes you cry. You'll never understand the reasoning, but everybody complies. A profusion of leaves and dust flew gently around him, carrying the dust like heavy beams slicing through the husks of trees. He slides in between the stalks, hands grazing the surface of rough bark as he walked down the twisted path until the path forked, and under his breath he called a name, waited for the wind's reply as he thought of her face. Hidden by the deepness of the night, a crumpled piece of paper was held in his grip, an image struck by moonlight. He sighed as he let the paper rip. Don't let this go to your head, it's always been better to forget, he said to himself, and yet as the wet dew of the evening slipped under his skin, some part of him knew this couldn't be the end, no, it was only the beginning. Through gritted teeth, the half-muttered words rolled around his dry throat until he swallowed them down to the acid where they burned. How could this happen? He observed the rusted red at the edges of the photo paper. You could have been mine, but you wanted to ignore me, instead allowing my presence to dance around you like a gentle vapor. I know you could feel my eyes, but chose to deny the signs of a stalker. I know you saw because you aren't blind, and yet it only made you talk more, laugh a little louder, flaunt the proudness of your perfect life. You like the feeling that somebody might be watching. I know you like a crowd, everyone's observing, and you love the spotlight. Well, how does it feel now? A foot twisted the girl into the ground, devoured by mud and bugs and mites. They all think they'll see you around, but they're about to be very surprised. She was still breathing when he returned to the husk of the tree. Purple bruising like soothing cloud only made her more beautiful and somehow seemed more free. Finally ripped from its ties, her hair wound round her neck and mingled with twigs and earth and bugs and flies, and specks of dirt on her white vest were like paint splattered on a canvas. He was in awe of what he created, even if he didn't fully understand it. All he knew for sure was that now he couldn't be ignored. She was no longer able to deny his existence, and he was finally allowed to exist in someone else's presence, and he could control it, no longer oppressed by lack of attention. They were together in this moment, if only for a while. As her chest rose and fell, and her breath grew shallow, he could feel he was running out of time. His eyes narrowed as hers flickered around himself, still struggling to fight against his gaze and trying to escape or seek some kind of help. But she was alone, like he had always been, and as the dusk rapidly fell and the sun began rising up to the horizon, the mist was low, and the tension began to tighten, like his hands wrapped around her throat. She tried to fight him, but she had weakened bones, and hope slipped away like hazy memories of broken moments. She croaked and moaned as her clothes soaked the mud, and blood flowed from cuts as her fingers dug. And he thought of love and rejection, and how he felt he was the one who suffered because he had to live another day stuck in a state of pitiful reflection, something she didn't deserve anyway, but it's the closest thing to justice. Not quite the same, but in the right direction. If God was more trusting, he would have taught him some kind of lesson. But the truth is disgusting, and there are no transgressions. The photographer left her there and would never return, and days later, when her body was discovered, there was no lack of concern. Still, they never noticed the photograph buried beneath the earth. They were never able to discern how someone could do this. They had a lot to learn. Twisting their nerves, the turmoil of their stomach churned, acid burning like a furnace. They knew who to look for, but not much else beneath the surface. But the photographer did not care anymore. For the first time in his life, he was happy, now that he finally discovered his purpose. On the train that day, he was playing with the frayed edges of a photograph in a lucid state, and then craned his neck and stiffened and smiled and thought to himself, I think some of us are meant to live, and others are meant to do what it takes to stop that from happening.